All right, well, civic axle in place. And I hate to admit it, but Alex was right again. So there's a lot of people out there running RSX Type S axles in their EGs. I don't know if that works or not because I've never run them, but I will tell you that when I put them in this car with the 36mm axles, which is what they call it, because I don't know if the axle is 36mm, but the socket that goes on the nut is 36mm, so that's pretty sure what they consider a 36mm axle. So upgraded hubs on the EG, 36mm hubs, 36mm axles, and the factory RSX Type S driver side works fine. I think it's where it needs to be, but the passenger side was considerably short, which a lot of people tell you can get away with it, you can run them, but I don't think that that was what this car needed. So it was, the passenger side was really extended, like really bad, to the point where I didn't feel comfortable putting horsepower through it. And I did some research on it with help from my buddy Alex, and he was like, you can get another inch and a half, whatever it is, I don't know what it is, but I'll do some measurements on it. And this is a newer style, I think it's an, oh man, I don't want to lie to you, but I think it's like an 08 plus Honda Civic axle, which is still a 36mm axle, but it's a little bit longer than the RSX Type S. And just off the cuff, I'll tell you it's about an inch or so longer, which 3/4 of an inch to an inch longer, which is what I needed. So just got this one off Rock Auto, and it looks to be pretty much perfect. So that is a good thing. I will put a link in the description below for anybody trying to do this. So maybe a little bit more information on the car if anybody's looking to do axles specifically on a car like this. This is an EG Civic. It's a 90, God almighty, it's a 93 EG hatch. It's got a K24A2. It is an EP3 transmission, 5-speed. It does have 36mm hubs, because I wanted the biggest axles I could go to with factory Honda stuff. And it has an RSX Type S driver side axle. And it has, I think it's an 08 Civic SI axle. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It is about, like I said, 3/4 of an inch to an inch longer than the RSX Type S axle on the passenger side, which is exactly what this needed. I had a huge concern with the RSX Type S passenger axle. There's a lot of people out there that say you can change cups from left to right. Keep the axle on the same side, but change inner cups from left to right. It will actually make your driver side axle a little bit shorter and your passenger side axle a little bit longer. But even then, I felt like there wasn't enough engagement. If you look at the cups and the rubber boots and everything on the inside of the axle, it is extended on one side, the passenger side, and I didn't like that. Like, I really didn't care for it. I knew as soon as I did the first like decent launch or hairy burnout or whatever, it was going to explode. And there's a lot of information out there on the internet that says you can run that, you can do this, and it might transfer power, but I can tell you that these inner spider on the inner cup is so far out to the edge of the inner cup that it is not ideal for a high horsepower application. So the Civic axle, it is cheap. It is like, I think it was like 60 bucks, maybe 65 bucks for the axle. Good peace of mind knowing that there's a little bit more strength there. Like I said, all this stuff is off Rock Auto. It's not OEM Honda, which might bite me in the butt here in the future. I don't care, but if I snap a $65 axle, I'm not too concerned about it. So axle is in, car is together ish, and next step is bleeding brake lines, bleeding clutch line, a belt for the accessories, wiring it, radiator. Oh, hang on. We did do something since the last time you saw this. My garage is so tight. This is not great. Well, for one, we tore the entire dash out of the car because we're to the point where we're getting to doing wiring, trying to do chassis conversion harness. We still gotta mount all this shit up. Clutch pedals out of the car. The finishing lines kit is in the car. I don't know if you can see it, but it is a tuck kit. It was not as, it didn't go as smooth as I thought it was gonna go, but it is in the car, which is great. There's the proportioning valve for the front to rear, and then other than that, it's kind of a shell. Fuse panel over here. We still have to get the chassis harness in. I'm pretty sure that I've got to run some wires from here to the engine to make the positive and negative to the engine, and then I have, which this is the main power cable from the battery, which I'm not too thrilled about this. It's not that great, but I don't think it's going to move a whole around a whole lot, but I might grum at this before I put the carbon in. This concerns me. I don't want it chafing and causing a short, but this line will have a fuse right off the battery, so if anything was to happen up here, it will kill the fuse and this will be dead. But might be something I change in the future. As I mentioned before in the transmission video, when I built it, I did put an upgraded spring kit in the transmission as far as detent pins or detent balls on the shafts, and then the shift selector has an upgraded spring kit. So this will never be like a direct, like a T56, like it will never be a direct engagement transmission, but as far as a cable transmission goes, it is pretty tight. So as long as I don't money shift it, which I'm sure will happen at some point in time, we should be good. Feels good for a cable transmission. Steering column's out, the whole dash is out. Like, we're trying to figure out wiring, and then once we get the wiring completed, chassis harness in, I still need to put the clutch pedal assembly in and get it bled. And then once I get this in and the wiring done, chassis harness in, once I get the wiring in, the dash will go back in, because I didn't want to lay on my head and do all the wiring in this car, because if I'm 41 and I'm too old to be laying on my back underneath the dash to do all this. So once this gets completed, we will put the dash back in. It was really fairly easy. This dash has been out of this car multiple times apparently. I think it was only like 5 bolts and the whole dash came out. So there's nothing to it. No AC, no heat, no radio, no nothing. It's very, very basic. This harness is way overkill for what we're trying to do with the car. I might go through it one day and thin it out, but at this point I just want to get running and driving. So that is kind of the update on the car. The rear suspension is pretty much completed. I do need to, I'll show you this. Yeah. It's all on jack stands. Turn my fan off because I'm about to go to sleep. Anyways. Alright, so I bought an exhaust system for the car. It's a full 3-inch all the way back. The painted calipers, they're rusting, so I painted them all black. It's decent looking. The Integra sway bar is in, but I need to work on the end links. You might not be able to see this, but I bought lower Integra arms to fit the sway bar, so I can bolt that up. Fuel system is en route. Oh man, hang on. Lighting is horrible. Dang. Fuel system in a box. So we are gonna go with a 6AN. Don't worry about that. All right, so $6AN feed or return, $8AN feed. All my fittings and connections are now in the bottom of this car. 90s, 45s, 180s, and straights. All here. Everything's there. Radiator mount kit over here. Should be good. I do like these mounts. They're cheap, but they work. And then this mount's not gonna work. This mount will work. I want to have this mount mirrored on the other side, so I'll probably buy another kit just to get this piece out of the other kit. So I think this kit is for a half-size radiator, but I'm running a full size. So this is gonna be the bottom. This will be the top. I'm gonna buy another kit so I get this exact bracket for the top on the other side where it all matches. And then that's about it. We're still hanging in there. This tight garage, 1-car garage. What did we do to the motor? We did absolutely nothing to the motor, but we did do, sorry for the light. This light is incredible, by the way, Amazon. Brake master's installed. All these lines are through the firewall. Everything else is inside of the firewall. To the fronts, the rears, the proportioning valve. Clutch master's in. I need to bleed it, but it does go to the slave. Slave's installed. And that's about it as far as under the hood goes. Like I said earlier, I do have the cables installed on this car. It is fairly crispy. 4-cable transmission. So pretty excited about that. And then I guess we will continue on. Next step is the engine harness, which I've already drilled the holes for through the pass-through to go through the firewall. And then I do have the big tube. This is a 1320 manifold. Big tube header, 4 into 2 into 1. And then a full 3-inch exhaust out the back of the car. I bought a 3-inch because at some point this car is more than likely going to be turbocharged, and I can actually go from the downpipe to the 3-inch exhaust going out the back of the car. So that's the goal. Here we are. Still making a little bit of progress. Dash out of the EG on the Eagle. Very disheartening, but one project at a time. And we are making progress on this one, which is a Civic Plus. Oh, the other half of this is all the carpets out of the car. I did purchase, we found these, we got a steal of this. These are BRZ seats. So I'm going from the factory EG seats to something that has a lot more side bolster, a headrest, full manual, and it has the ability to raise up and down on the driver's side. So those are the seats that are going in. I do have the brackets for them, so I'm just waiting on the brackets before I can weld these in, and then we will have some halfway decent seats in the car for fairly cheap. I think these were, it's kind of funny. We went to the junkyard, me and Alex went to the junkyard. They tried to pull them out of the car before we ever got there, which is like par for the course for any junkyard in Houston. They try to grab all the good stuff out of a car before they actually put it in the yard. They couldn't get these seats out of the car, so they left them in the car. And then we found them the day the car dropped, and all the bolts were stripped out because they couldn't get them out, apparently, before they dropped the car on the yard. So we cut them out of the car. And what I mean by cut them out of the car is we cut the entire floorboard out of the car to get the rear bolts out. We couldn't get the bolts loose, so we just cut the floor pan. It's a junkyard car. It's not my car, not my problem. So I do have to go in and cut all this out. All I really need is this slider right here on both sides. And then I'm going to weld this slider to a EG seat bracket that bolts into the car. So not that big of a deal. Well worth the effort. I think these seats were like $30 a piece. If you find them online, they're anywhere from like $250 to $500 for a set. So 60, 65 bucks for 2 seats was not a bad deal. The only thing is this seat, they have this seatbelt strap that buttons in right here. This button up top, this button down low. The passenger seat, at some point, the top button pulled out with the strap. So I'm gonna get a piece of, it's like iron-on patch kit. I'm gonna iron a little circle over this so you can't really see it, but I'm not too worried about it because if you've seen the rest of the car, you would know that that's the least of my problems. And that's about it. Traction bars are installed. This is a cheap Amazon kit. I did have to put some 1/2-inch washers on each side of it just to tighten up the gap because it was kind of sloppy. Other than that, it's good. I want to make sure it's on the ground before I adjust those. I do need to get an aftermarket upper housing that deletes this pipe because I will no longer need that, and this bracket. And if I put a turbo on it, it's going to interfere with this. So all that is going to be changed out. 4 bolts, no big deal. I think the housing is like 80 bucks. So that is what it is. And then, yeah, we're still making progress, and hope to have it on the road here in a month or two. Actually, right about the time it cools off in Texas would be ideal because this car has no AC. So we'll see how it goes, but we're still making progress. I do still have to pull off the entire front end, fenders, bumpers, headlights, all that. I want to run the headlight harness, I guess, next to the frame rail. I still need to put the hood latch in, which goes on the driver's side frame rail. But once I pull all that off, we'll be able to run both harnesses, passenger and driver. And then we will be able to run the charge harness from the fuse panel. I want to hide it all the way up here. It'll probably come underneath the frame rail, or I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I want to be as hidden as possible that goes to the starter. So I don't want it to look tacky. Granted, my engine bay is not shaved. There's holes and bolt holes and all that stuff in here, but I want it to look as tidy as possible when this thing gets out on the street. I want it to be simple and clean. And I think that it will never be a fully shaved engine bay, but it will at least look halfway decent. So anyways, that's the update on the car. And yeah, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch these videos, even though they're boring as can be. But just a guy in his garage building a Honda. That's what we do. Anyways, appreciate you. Have a good night, and we will see you on the next update.